Join us on the show right now, the president of SUNY Buffalo's College Republican Club, Catherine DeLong, is with us. Catherine, good evening.
Hi, how you doing?
Excellent. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. You had a piece in Human Events recently. There's no serious reason to ban firearms on campus. Now, first of all, you realize that writing this at SUNY Buffalo could get you expelled. I mean, you're just not allowed to express a position like this on campus. Are you, Catherine?
Well, I am definitely willing to take any risk of, coming under fire from campus officials. I did notify the chief of police and the media department at the university that I was writing the article, and they seemed to be okay with it. So haven't received any negative feedback from the campus, at least.
Well, that's good. That's good. All right, so let's go through some of what you say here. You say the argument for concealed carry on campus is not an argument for putting guns on planes and bars or anywhere else. It's an argument for the right of students to defend themselves while on school grounds should the need arise. A common argument, you say, against concealed carry on campus relates to the stereotypical collegiate environment, one that involves partying, binge drinking, and drugs. And Catherine, far and away, that is the number one argument that we heard this legislative session from opponents of campus carry was, Catherine, you go to school with a bunch of drunks. You go to school with a bunch of druggies who are irresponsible and can't be trusted. So, for God's sakes, we can't allow concealed carry on campus. We'll just have a bunch of drunk students shooting up the place.
Right. And first of all, it's not that, college students are the only people in the country who drink and do drugs.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that really gets me is, it's the state's responsibility. Since we have these, we have to apply for these concealed carry permits, it's the state's responsibility to screen individuals for those permits. So if, opponents of concealed carry and people who are anti-gun rights are going to criticize anyone, shouldn't they, be asking the state, maybe the state should be having, more restrictions on who they hand out the concealed carry permits to. But to say that college students shouldn't be allowed to have guns based on the fact that there's an environment that has partying and drinking and drugs is just wrong. And a lot of those activities don't even take place on campus. A lot of those activities take place off campus in bars and apartments and things like that.
That's a very good point. I think another point that you could make is, if that's an argument against gun ownership, shouldn't that be an argument against car ownership on campus? Shouldn't?
Right.
Why on earth would you trust college students with the keys to a car?
And that's what I said in my article. The state gives you a driver's license, and when you're granted that license, you have an obligation to operate your vehicle responsibly and safely. And it's the same thing with a gun. The people who go through the process to get the concealed carry permits, they know that they need to be committed to using their guns sensibly and cautiously. And I think that, it's pretty clear. I don't think we have to look at any data to see that the fatalities and tragedies that have resulted from drinking and driving on, within the college communities are far greater than those that have happened on campuses with that allow the concealed carry on them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I would say, Catherine, is there was a time when it was expected that individuals who went to college would, when they graduated, would have actually, become more mature, would have become better adults, and that was in fact that was one of the things that was expected of a college education, is that it would lead to greater maturity, it would lead to greater responsibility, you'd be able to shoulder the burdens of adulthood once you got out of college. Now it seems like the impression I'm hearing from these administrators and faculty is that, oh no, college is a chance to delay adulthood as long as possible, and we want to ensure that we can continue that not so long and proud tradition.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, there is that point that's very valid, but also a lot of the people that are on college campuses aren't, the 18 to 22-year-olds that people mostly think of when
Right.
they're targeting, the partying and whatnot, those arguments. There's a lot of people on school campuses who are older. Maybe they're going back to school. At my university, it's 20,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
It's, graduate level. There's a law school. There's a medical school. It's not just, the quote-unquote irresponsible, reckless young individuals. There's people that are going to the, university, and they have families, they have kids, and they need to have those guns because they feel like they need to, defend their family at home. So, why wouldn't they have that obligation outside the home as well?
Absolutely. Now, and we've seen stories, Catherine, over the years where you've had faculty members, you've had students who were attacked on their way to their car at night. Non-traditional students. They didn't live in the dorm. They were driving back home to their family, but they were attacked there on campus because the criminals know that if they're looking for an unarmed victim, well, here's a target-rich environment. Chances are, unless you run across somebody who's breaking the law just like the criminal is, chances are you go and you try to assault somebody, mug them, rape them, whatever, you're going to come across an unarmed victim on a college campus.
Right, and so many opponents of concealed carry on campus, they parrot this argument, look at what happened at Virginia Tech, and look at what happened at Columbine and things like that. And, I'm certainly not undermining the travesty that happened at those events or anything like that. But, yeah, those people knew that college campuses are, if you're looking for casualties, you're psychopath, you're looking to kill people, what's the one place where you can manage to, basically go crazy and not be threatened by other people who are armed? It's a college campus.
Mm-hmm.
In New York State, college campuses are literally the only place where, the concealed carry permits are restricted. So if someone in New York State was crazy and was going to go on a shooting spree, I think the college campus would be, the most logical place to do it, sadly.
Yeah. Now, so you said you haven't gotten any criticism on campus. Have you received any praise from your fellow students or perhaps even a faculty member or two?
Well, school's not in session right now.
Yeah.
So I might be getting, more feedback once school starts again. But I have been receiving a lot of good feedback from people on the campus. There are some kids who, are in, the college Democrats and things like that who try to debate me on this issue. But, at the end of the day, it's like I wish this wouldn't be seen as a partisan issue. And I think that's the problem with the Constitution in general. You were kind of, touching on this earlier, is that the Constitution and things like the Second Amendment have come to be these partisan issues. The right and the left, there's such a staunch divide, and it's sad because, if you can't bring both sides of the spectrum together, then it's hard to reach any type of resolutions or compromises on things like this. And when it's concerning our basic freedoms endowed by the Bill of Rights, that's sad that both sides of the spectrum can't come together for something as basic as that.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Look, I've said for years that the Second Amendment, none of our constitutional rights are partisan issues. The Second Amendment applies to Democrats just like it applies to Republicans and independents, applies to Christians and Jews and Muslims and Sikhs. If you are a law-abiding American, you've got your right to keep and bear arms. That's the litmus test. Have you lost your rights? Have you done anything to cause society or the government to take your rights away? No? All right, then you've got your rights. And that's it. And that's one of the beautiful things about living in this country. And you're right. College Democrats, in my opinion, should be just as supportive of campus carry as college Republicans, because the argument, again, Catherine, that we're hearing against campus carry is, no, you're too stupid. You drink too much. You do too much drugs. You're too irresponsible. And I would expect that both college Republicans and college Democrats would want to tell the administrators and the faculty members, you're wrong. We are responsible adults, and we can exercise our rights responsibly.
The thing is, because, especially at my school, which is a public university, it does have to act in accord with New York State law. And New York State Penal Code says that firearms any type of concealed carry permit, it doesn't have any bearing in terms of self-defense, carrying weapons for self-defense on college campuses. And I spoke with the chief of police at UB, and what he said was, he had he came out and said that he supported the anti-gun policy on campus, but he also said, we're acting in accordance with New York State law. This is a New York State mandate, so we have to enforce it. So, I mean, even if the SUNY administrators and things like that really thought that allowing concealed carry on campus was a good idea, they would still be fighting this uphill battle with the very liberal New York State legislators. So, I mean, even if, it's one battle after another, basically. So, I mean, it's just tough.
It is, but you know what, Catherine? You got to fight the good fight, and I appreciate all that you're doing up there in New York. I know it's a battleground state for the Second Amendment, but we appreciate everything that you're doing, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Catherine DeLong joining us, again, the president of the SUNY Buffalo College Republican Club.